every single woman there knew they deserved to be there. Whether or not I'm sure they've all doubted themselves. They've all talked about it, but they all knew they deserved it. They all knew that they deserved to be on that stage, to be in the roles that they're in, and that other women deserve to be there. So I would say just the...
they had found the secret to knowing their worth, and they wanted everyone there to know their worth.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just the grit and the persistence that they had because they knew they deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you could really hear it in all of their voices, all their different stories, and that they had the rocky roads, but they figured it out, that they knew they deserved it. Welcome to the Know Your Worth show, where we teach you how to think about your money differently so that you can achieve your sexy money goals. I'm Sydney, your money maven and owner of Know Your Worth.
And I'm Kristen, Sid's dime piece bestie, team member, and busy mom of twins, here to make sure that those of us without a financial degree can still level up with each episode. Let's get started on reaching your next goal.
Hello. Welcome to the Know Your Worth podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sydney Conway, your money maven.
And I'm Sid's dime piece bestie, Kristen, and we are so excited to be back with you this week.
Absolutely. So this is our 26th recorded episode.
Mm-hmm.
We did a little break last week and just replayed one of our popular episodes from the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. So we're ready to rock.
Welcome.
Rested and ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to talk about actually a conference that I just went to this past week and just some of the experience there and some of the feedback that I got that I thought would be beneficial to the listeners.
That's awesome. I'm so pumped for everybody to hear about it. I already got a little sneak peek.
It was lovely. So I have my notes in front of me from everything that I learned that I wanted to pass on. But the conference was the Female Founders Day conference, and it was Build Your Empire. It was in New York City, and it was put on by the Female Founders Collective, which is a networking group that's mostly online. They have a wonderful platform. It's actually one of the most robust platforms I've ever seen in terms of a networking group and just educational platform.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it was lovely. I left feeling very, very empowered, lots of new goals, definitely some new insight into the business, and a lot of things that I'm really excited to tell my clients too.
Cool. So just to ask you this, are networking things that you build into your budget throughout the year consciously for Know Your Worth and for yourself?
Definitely. So I love networking events. I think that they are immensely important. But what I really wanted to make an active effort this year was not just networking events, but educational networking events or opportunities. It's not necessarily tailored as a networking event. It's mostly a conference or an educational event. And that's something I haven't always done. This is one of the first bigger events that I've gone to.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I can't wait to go to the next one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think sometimes, I know I would shy away from something like that. Maybe not so much a learning conference, but the networking aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But really, when you can combine both of them, which you did, and you guys will hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, super awesome. So what were some of the things that you really loved about it in terms of topics?
So in terms of topics, I'll get into the topics, but one of the things I loved about it was it opened up with a dance.
Oh, see, I would freaking hate that.
I actually at first I was really uncomfortable.
I would have gone to the bathroom.
It was at first I was pretty uncomfortable.
Door.
So
they flash mob?
No, but I was waiting for it to be that everybody else knew the dance moves except for me.
Oh God.
It was a dance group. So this was in New York City, and it was a dance group that came out onto the stage. It was 3 dancers, and at first I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And they just started to break out and dance. Just
my anxiety.
Yeah, it was very, what's the method of dance?
Interpretive?
Yes.
No.
Yes. It was very much at first an interpretive dance. And I am not a dancer. I did.
I've seen you dance.
I mean, I'm a dancer in terms of I'm gonna dance to the beat of my own drum. I am not, when you think of your classical dance and interpretive dance, dance classes and growing up a dancer was not I did ballet one time and I never went back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I did the pictures are really cute, but I would not consider myself to be a dancer in terms of ballet or interpretive dance. I don't have the rhythm for that.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not something I've really ever
You weren't prepared for that.
out. Yeah, I was not prepared for it. And then what happened is that one of the women came on and I thought she was like interrupting them, like stopping the dance. And she did not stop the dance. She was actually then like the leader of the group. But I actually was like, oh, is this woman like cutting them off? Like, is this
like drama?
Did they dance too long?
Yeah.
Well, then she came out and she started doing like moves that she wanted us to do with her to like warm ourselves up for the conference. So
just like break out.
Yeah,
of
we
your
could do
shell.
like this,
break the ice.
and then so we had to like move our hands up like 3 times. And then it was like we clapped and then we like did the cross down. So then it was like this. Yeah.
So like
the
Macarena,
and then did like a cross
slide,
down. Yeah.
like do the Dougie.
Yeah. There was a little bit of like a shift to it and like a little slide to it. And I will say, it did really wake you up. Like it definitely like started the conference off.
The anxiety would have pumped my heart up to like.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was definitely. And then like you're looking around like, all right, is everybody else getting into this? Like, should I get into this? Because if I don't get into this, I look like the jerk here. I'm on the very end. So I'm also in the part where like I'm probably on video somewhere from like the conference, like photographers.
Like, look at that girl.
Like, and I did get into it. Like I
bet you did.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, but it was very interesting. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't expecting that, but it was good. We had a little wake up there. And then it went into the opening speaker, the opening remarks was Melissa Wood from Melissa Wood Health is her business. And it was stepping into your power. And it was just about kind of her start with everything and that she just really started to believe in herself. So then it really did get into this just like motivational of you need to own your power. You need to understand your worth, know your worth. Absolutely what we preach and want everybody to know themselves too. So it was very enlightening. It was a very good way to start the day.
That's
and
awesome.
Then it got into the goods. Well, my kind of goods. The panel that came on after that was the big exit is what it was called. So it was like exit strategy and exit planning for businesses.
Yeah. What does that mean for people who don't know what that means?
So exiting your business can be a couple different things. It can be selling your business, whether to an investor, to another business owner, exiting it and just like retirement, closing up, like you are literally exiting your business, or selling your client list, selling to venture capital, or just being bought out and then staying on as a consultant. Like that can be considered an exit too.
That's awesome. So what were some of your biggest takeaways from that one?
That these women are badasses.
Yeah,
like it
I
was so empowering to be in this room of all these female founders is what the conference was, but to listen to these couple business owners was just incredible. One of them had a massive translation company that it's one of the most widely used translation companies out there for like language translation.
Wow.
She built it in her NYU dorm room in like 1998.
God, I love stories like that.
Yeah. It was really, really cool. And one of the things that we've talked about on the podcast that she really harped on was having good contracts, like having good legal team in place and good contracts with not only your clients, but with your co-owners. If you go into business with your partner, your friend, your husband, your sister, anybody that you're going into business with, even if you're the best of friends, just have contracts in place that are the worst case scenario that you have a plan should anything go wrong. Because in her case, things did go very wrong and they ended up okay, but it was a battle from what she was saying. And it was pretty incredible. So that was Liz Elting. And she is now a best-selling author. And she also has the Elizabeth Elting Foundation. So she does some charity work now. So her business, and I have the notes here of what it was called. It was called Transperfect was her business. Awesome. So that was really cool. Then probably my favorite part though was Suneera Madani. She has an incredible story, unicorn business that she successfully exited for over $1 billion.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was incredible. Her story is amazing. She's a wonderful speaker. She has a podcast called The CEO School, and she wants to give women the playbook to be a boss, to be a CEO that she didn't have, and to get out of this boys club narrative that we hear so much about. So she was awesome. I really, really enjoyed listening to her speak and was just really insightful. And one of the things that she said that I loved, one of her slides was know your worth, which we obviously love, but was that she really thinks it's so important as the CEO or as the founder of the company to know your numbers. You need to understand your numbers of your business. So you need to be asking the questions. Even if you hire out a bookkeeper, you need to understand what's going on in your business to be able to make those decisions and to be able to be the boss. You need to understand what's going on so that you can be in those conversations with authority.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You say that all the time too.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I made sure I told her that. It was amazing.
Yeah. Do you want to tell that story?
I'll tell a little bit of it. But
okay.
so this was one that just, when you listen to certain speakers and they just really connect with your mission and what you're doing, you just can't help but say something. At least that's how I am sometimes. So I made sure I stood up and asked my question to Suneera of how can I continue to educate my clients in them learning more about their businesses and them taking control of their numbers and their finances and actually understanding it, other than just having the conversations with me and listening to the podcast. And really what she just said straight out is you need to make sure they know how important it is. Mm-hmm. They need to understand their business and they need to know it. Whatever way, shape, or form that can be communicated, it needs to be. So continue to listen to the podcast, continue to read the articles, go sign up for CEO school, sign up for educational courses and classes and networking events and conferences. Learn in whatever way you need to learn, but you need to learn.
Mm-hmm. She kind of said like, no excuses. They just have to.
Yeah, you just have to understand it. You have to know the language that's going on. You have to know what your numbers mean. You have to know what the financials are saying and be able to be in that conversation.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Whether or not you're the one doing the actual bookkeeping work, that's fine. But you need to understand what's going on. Yeah. So it was really, really wonderful. I'm hoping that we can continue to push that mission and maybe potentially work with Suneera in the future. So we'll see. But it was a wonderful, wonderful conversation.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So where did you go after that?
After that, I went to see the owner of Poppy. So the founder of Poppy,
awesome.
Soda for today. So the future of soda for the future generations. And hers was really on how TikTok shaped her business. And that you just should be on TikTok. Like there's no other platform like it. And it's free. For everybody out there that's like looking to get their name out there, you can post on TikTok and other social media forums for free. You can do it yourself.
And that's how she got started.
Yeah. That's how she really got the growth. So she actually, what she said, so she had a business. It was apple cider vinegar sodas. And that's what Poppy is. But they rebranded. It used to be called Mother. And they rebranded after she was actually on Shark Tank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she was on Shark Tank and they rebranded. And they were doing okay, but it wasn't until she posted on TikTok and created this whole brand on TikTok that it absolutely exploded.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
did you leave there like, we're going to get a Know Your Worth TikTok?
Yeah.
You're like, I have to tell Kristen. And I would have been like, no.
Yeah, I know. No, I feel like I need to Know Your Worth TikTok. So if any of our listeners want to help with our TikTok,
Kristen's tapped out. I use TikTok to watch conspiracy theory videos. And hairstyles. That's it.
I know. I had so many ideas for TikTok that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a golf TikTok for our golf academy.
Yeah.
On all of my sister and I wanted to do it on all of just the ridiculous stories that we get from men on the golf course. We wanted to start a TikTok for that.
That's amazing.
And, yeah. And that one, I feel like those stories would come. I mean, obviously Know Your Worth would come easily too, but I would have I don't know. I guess I have a little bit of like, would anybody watch the Know Your Worth TikTok? Even though I know people would, because I watch the content that comes out around the space. But I don't know. I've always just thought, I don't know if TikTok is where we should be at, but why not?
But I bet you felt inspired and like opened an account while you were there.
Maybe.
I know you.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. She was just wonderful to listen to, just very natural. And while she was on stage, she recorded and posted 3 TikToks.
Jeez.
So if you go to the Poppy TikTok and she posts one where she turns the screen to the crowd, I'm like dead center. So
I'll be on
Poppy's
tonight.
TikTok.
It's going to change my whole algorithm away from conspiracy theories, but I'll do it for you.
Soda.
Soda. But
Natural sodas. And Poppy is delicious. So that one was really fun too. The next one that I went to was Landing Venture Capital. So it was like what, why, when, and how. And it was with the founder of the Female Founders Fund. So the Female Founders Fund is separate than the Female Founders Collective, but the fund was set up specifically to fund female-founded businesses. And they have funded so many amazing businesses. So that presentation was amazing, just to see the power of when you yourself grow and you have dollars that you create, how much you can impact and grow other businesses and other people.
And things that you believe in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I've always felt. This is sort of personal, not to get political at all or even close to that, but I've always felt that with like having my own business and having my own just growth there and focusing on money and dollars is not that that's how I want to give back all the time, but I had a couple friends that hated corporate America and hated money and thought it was evil, and the heart of greed was the root of all evil. Money's the root of all evil. But I have always felt that my businesses are where I can open up doors and I can impact other people in a positive way. And that's by making more money. I can create more jobs. I'm helping other women in business. Like, I truly believe that. So if you're somebody out there that comes from a past of money is evil, or like corporate greed is a real thing, and that you are, I don't know, have some like guilt around that, because I had some friends that did, look at the positive impact that you can have in your business or just in your life by having money.
I never thought that money makes you like evil. I feel like money makes you more of what you already are.
Yeah.
So if you have like a giving heart and you have like it in you to help other people, having those resources is just going to help you push that out farther.
Absolutely.
But if you're an asshole, then having a lot of money is just going to help you do asshole
Bigger
things.
asshole. Yeah, absolutely. Just be a huge asshole.
That also made me think of something else what you were talking about, but I lost it. So anyways, I'll come back to it.
But yeah, it's just something that like, sometimes whenever I talk about wanting to be a millionaire or wanting to have all this money, I get this ping of like, oh, are people going to think that that's like selfish? And to me, I don't want to be, I want nice things. Don't get me wrong. I'm very motivated by expensive cheese and
let's collect all
vacations and travel and all the good things.
All the dogs.
But I also am so motivated to have impact and help other people with that, with their businesses and their growth. So if you're someone that's thinking that way, just think of all the good that you can pass on. And this Female Founders Fund is like the exact version of that. It's these women that they've been so successful in their careers. They've exited their own business. They've raised all this money. And now they've created a fund to do that for other women.
Right.
It's just really cool. It's really, really neat. So whenever you're thinking about money negatively, just find the right people to follow that have done amazing things with money.
Yeah. Who's that Jen Sincero? What's that book that
You're a badass
at making money?
At making money.
Oh
yeah.
God,
you're a badass at money.
Like really changes my perspective, because I did come from a family where it was like, don't talk about it. It wasn't that money was evil. It was just like, you don't talk about it. Like, you just do, you make your money, you pay your bills. Like, but it really changed my perspective on thinking about money in a different way.
Yeah.
And I always think about you on even like a smaller scale, like, okay, so you've hired me and you've created an opportunity for me to be home with my kids. That's huge. Like, I would have to drop them off at daycare every day and go and leave them. Or the person you recently just hired, like, you're changing her situation so that she can be home with her kids more. Like, you should be so proud of that.
Oh, thanks.
You're so young, and
it's really fun.
You're doing that for your best friend gets to be home. And
I know. We were just talking about that today.
Yeah, like, that's amazing.
Christy and I, she'll be on the podcast probably coming up pretty soon, but she's one of our other full-time Know Your Worth members, and has been my best friend for a very long time. And I can say this because it's on social media. She is expecting.
Yeah.
But we were just talking today about her being able to stay home with her baby and like raise her baby at home and be able to work. And
that's
just
because
such a
you
cool
gave her
experience.
that opportunity. Like,
it's so fun. And like, I never thought about it like that, but it's really
big
cool.
deal.
It's really cool.
It's a big deal.
It's really cool.
A big deal.
So it's finding things like that aren't so, it just takes, I think, the stickiness away sometimes from how money can feel. But that Jen Sincero, You're a Badass at Making Money, is a huge book. That really helped my perspective from, I had a different, my family is fantastic in terms of like their communication around money has always been very mature. My parents had a great, from my perspective, had a great open dialogue about money. But where I think that my impact with it was being very safe. They're very safe with money. And that's great. That's your risk tolerance is very different from the person next to you. But I definitely went the safest route because that was what I thought I had to do.
Yeah.
So I became an accountant because accountant's like the safest job there is. And given I love what I do, but I love making an impact on women-owned businesses. And so bookkeeping is where my skill set can kind of meet my passion with that. So leaving to start my own business and quitting my corporate job, as we've talked about previously, was like really scary for my parents, I think. For me, once I made the decision, I was ready to go. But that's something where, depending, whatever financial background you come from, that book was fantastic.
Yeah. Even the regular You Are a Badass is great for
so good.
Just motivational purposes.
That was my very first book in like the self-help
Me
wellness
too.
space. Yeah. That like
I think Girl Wash Your Face was. But
I read that one after.
Yeah.
You're a Badass was first, and then Girl Wash Your Face was second. And then that started my like obsession with Rachel Hollis at the time. And I feel like that's like the gateway drug into self-help wellness, business,
and now we're just into fairy books.
Yeah.
We just kind of went around.
You come back around. You come full circle. Yeah, you come full circle. You have to make your way back to like the Harry Potters at some point.
All right. What happened next?
So then after that, we talked about building, managing, scaling your team and like when to ask for help, when to outsource things. And it was Rebecca Minkoff, one of the founders, and Alison Wyat of the Female Founder Collective. So that was really cool to hear them speak of just how they grew their team and then what their growth strategies were and how they really developed great teams around them. And some of the main things that they said were boundaries aren't real, but also the new generation has lots of boundaries. So when you're in this like startup kind of hustle mentality, when you're hiring people, you need to be very clear about what your expectations of them are in regards to boundaries. That made me chuckle.
We have no boundaries.
We have no boundaries. I have no boundaries.
I have no boundaries.
And I'm always very clear with my team of like, hey, I'm going to text you and call you and email you all hours of the day because of, in my head, I'm thinking my ADHD, but I think it's also just when you have your own business, that's just how your brain operates. One of the other things that they said that was really, I thought very impactful was work-life balance isn't real. It's work-life integration. So you need to make sure that you have help around you to support that. And so it's just, that was really cool to kind of hear some of their tips and tricks. Hiring the right people for the right job. You can't hire the wrong people and expect them to do the right job. And win your heart if they're the right or the wrong people. For the most part. When you hire your friends or your siblings or your family and you're just doing it because that's what you think is going to be fun. And then what do you do in 3 months if it doesn't work out? Did you hire them because you were friends with them, or did you hire them because you knew they were the right fit for the job and they're a friend? That's very different.
Right.
So that was pretty cool and just eye-opening. The other thing that they recommended was, and I think this is a good thing for people out there looking to hire, and I kind of partnered this with one of the books that I read that I'll kind of touch on too, but that your first hire as a founder is typically a generalist.
What's a generalist?
Someone that can help you with everything. So someone that's going to help you with your emails, help you with your social media.
Is that me?
Help you with,
Can that be my title?
Generalist. And I didn't know that like that's really what I just needed help with all the things. Like I didn't have the capacity anymore. So the first
hire.
Your
first hire?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Like you were like my first. So Christy was a contractor probably at the time too, but she in the beginning, I think when we first started was like a couple hours here and there. Hers really wasn't very set. And then I think whenever I hired you full time or more. Well before that, because Christy started helping me probably right around the same time. Yeah, probably right around the same time.
Fun.
Yeah.
Generalist. I'm going to change it from Dime Piece Bestie to generalist.
I like that. So they said first you hire your generalist and then you hire your generals. And your generals are like the heads of each department. So you hire your generalist to just like take everything off your plate, and then you have
your department.
your departments. And those, so
Interesting.
that was, I thought that was a good like way to say it.
That's funny how that took shape for you without you really strategizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that really reminded me of another book that I read called Clockwork. I believe was the one, Clockwork. And so what that one talked about is whenever you're making a hire for your business, you need to think about what you don't want to do and what's going to elevate your time. Because what people think they need is to hire a salesperson to make more sales. But in the beginning, you're going to be the best salesperson of your business that you are starting. So you need to be in sales, and you need to hire the generalist to give you more time in sales.
Yeah. You need somebody to do all the jobs that anybody can do while you do the job that only you can do.
Exactly. And then once you get to that point and you have your structures and systems, then you hire the second salesperson because you have the systems in place to support additional sales. If you hire another general, you hire another salesperson right off the bat, you become the administrative person. And then you're stuck in the weeds.
That's interesting. I love that thought.
Yeah. So I thought that kind of reiterated one of the thoughts there too that I from the Clockwork book. Clockwork. Clockwise does our t-shirts. Clockwork. If you need a good screen printing company in Pittsburgh, Clockwise.
We're spiraling out. What was your next one?
So the next one was The Power of Being Purpose Driven. So it was finding motivation to stay the course. And it was sponsored by Mazda. So there was a woman there, Jennifer Morrison, who was an executive at Mazda. She was amazing. Hearing her story, she was just so bubbly and like excited to be there. Wonderful, wonderful story and background. Then Jewel was there. Jewel, artist.
I really want to start singing one of her songs, but I won't.
Please do. Please do.
No, you guys aren't ready.
And so let's see. Then there was Monique Rodriguez. And Monique is the founder and CEO of Miel Organics, which I have told so many people for like the past year. Miel is the thing that literally grew back all my hair.
I need to get some.
All my hair fell out from either COVID or PCOS or stress. I have no idea. But all of it fell out like 2 years ago. And I got extensions. Like I had literally no hair. And so then I was looking up how to regrow it. And it's anything needs to have rosemary oil in it, rosemary water in it. So this was the only product that was like relatively inexpensive and available. It was at Target. It was $9.99. So I bought it, started using it, and my hair regrew so fast.
You just rub it on your scalp. I'm just like ready to get on Amazon right now.
Miel Organics. Amazing. And then if anybody watches our YouTube videos of this podcast, and anytime my hair is slicked back, it is the Miel deep conditioner. I use that as a slick back for
not me
my hair on those days, because someone else put that tip out there that you should use a deep conditioner mask instead of gel. Because then it nourishes your hair while you have it slicked back.
Yeah.
So
come here for the tips. Leave with perfect hair.
Absolutely. So Miel Organics, and their stories were amazing. I mean, just all of them so well spoken, so eloquent in like their mission and their feelings about it. It was just really cool. Yeah, they were really, really wonderful people to talk to.
That leads me to a question that I was thinking of this whole time. So all of these women that are standing up here, what do you think like a common trait among all of them as business owners would be?
Oh, that's a great question.
Thank you. I'm going to Google Miel Organics while you think about that.
A common trait for these women, probably persistence. One, definitely persistence of just like not taking no for an answer. Every single woman there knew they deserved to be there. Whether or not I'm sure they've all doubted themselves. They've all talked about it, but they all knew they deserved it. They all knew that they deserved to be on that stage, to be in the roles that they're in, and that other women deserve to be there. So I would say like they had found the secret to knowing their worth, and they wanted everyone there to know their own worth. Yeah. Wow. And just the grit and the persistence that they had because they knew they deserved it. Yeah. And you could really hear it in all of their voices, all their different stories, and that they had the rocky roads, but they figured it out, that they knew they deserved it. Yeah. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah, it was really great. It was really, really great.
Like I
highly recommend it. And then the Female Founders Collective, their membership group is called 10th House.
Did you say penthouse?
10th house.
10th house.
No, I'm glad you asked me to clarify because I'm sure I said that really
you saying
fast.
Pam or Tan?
10th house. 10th house.
10th house.
Yes.
10th house.
So look them up, give them a follow, get
CEO
involved.
school.
CEO school. Just all the resources are out there for you and you deserve it.
Yeah. Love that. Know your worth.
Know your worth. You deserve it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
If you found a bit of inspiration in this episode for achieving your sexy money goals, click the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app or YouTube so that you never miss an episode.